Hi guys, my name is Nora and I'm gonna talk about some harmonic movements today. So I'm gonna dig into music theory and how to figure out how to create your own chords. This is focused on jazz and modern jazz type of direction, but it could benefit also composers and just people who are curious and creative. I'm gonna check out that the chord that is 13 flat 9. So that's that same, right? That's the same chord, really. I'm gonna look at some things like triad pairs within it. I'm gonna look at what scale it is and all sorts of chords, how we can come up with your own chords. Also, it will give you some ideas how to analyze harmonies and different chord melodies that you found and come across. For example, Wes Montgomery and Jim Hall, if you look at those transcriptions, some chords might not make sense. So I think this video might give you some ideas of how to understand that, how to understand harmony and how to come up with your own as well. So here we go. Let's dig into it. So the chord I want to look at is A flat 13 flat 9. You can think of it as like a mixolydian sound with flat 9. You can kind of even think of it as diminished chord, although I'm not going to focus on that aspect as much. All right, so the first step, what would you do if you want to come up with more voicings? So here we have the chord. And these are the notes. So the most important notes usually in a chord is 3 and 7. But because we're going to move around with multiple voicings, so for example, so here's a little voice leading here, right? So, and how did I come up with this? So basically, if I knew, for example, this voicing, I just want to, let's see. I have this little, which is F major triad, by the way. And you can move that around fretboard. But let's see. You have F major triad, and then we have A flat in bass. So basically, it's like an F major triad and A flat in bass. A flat is the root here. And here we have that chord. So just going from this, right? Going from this one. All right. My first string. I changed it so it sometimes goes out of tune. All right, and then we can come up with something. What if we want to move these voices? So what I'm doing here is, how can I move this voice and fit inside of this chord? So here's major third is C, right? So I'm just kind of like, let's move this voice. So do I want to move this voice? That's a 7. Sorry, that's a 13, right? So I can actually leave that one on. So here's that voicing. I'm gonna leave these two middle voices as they are. So I'm gonna move the F note and the C note. But I'm gonna move the lower voice and a higher voice. So, right, so here from A flat, I'm going to A, and that's a flat 9. So this voicing, right, that's the bass changing to the A flat, to the flat 9. And you have that voice leading going here. And then the next, if I want to move some voice leading here, I can go to the E flat note, which E flat note's like a 5 in this case. I'm not playing 5 in this chord, right? And we haven't sort of, I haven't decided sharp 5 or 5. In this case, I'm focusing more on that mixolydian flat 9 sound. So in this case, we're gonna have just a normal 5. So it's not sharp 5. So in this case, we're gonna have E flat, right? All right, so that's that note. So I'm gonna just kind of voice lead that C into the E flat, right? And what can I do with this note? This one I didn't voice lead earlier, but I'm gonna voice lead that to the root, right? That's A flat. And we have the next one, I will voice lead. So that one was C before, and I'm gonna voice lead that to the 7. So here we have F sharp or G flat, right? So that's the voicing. So here's that, just that little movement. I can play that, maybe fingers is even better, so. And I decided also to move this. So here we go. You can keep these ringing, right? So here, what I moved here is A flat to the A, and that was a root to the flat. So here is just how my mind works when I come up with voicings. Obviously, when you come up with these voicings, you want to practice them as well. Maybe practice them in probably more than one key as well. Obviously, if you want to use this chord in other keys, you want to practice that in other keys. I'm focusing only on this one in this video, but here's that movement. And if you have a specific chord tune where this chord comes up, you can do that, right? So, okay. I just want to announce a couple things. One, I do take guitar students, so reach out through my webpage. I take guitar students on Zoom. It's on all levels. It's not just this kind of advanced stuff. Of course, if you're watching this video, you might be advanced. So yeah, I do teach this kind of stuff as well. So reach out. Second thing, I'm launching a Patreon. So check out that link below as well. And the third thing is I do have a course. It's focusing on triad inversions across the fretboard. It digs quite deep into it. Currently just major minor in there, closed string triads, but covering all the keys and all the positions and all quite deeply. So 8 hours of course. It will be updated as well. There's going to be some diminished other than some more things to master triads across the fretboard. So that's the third thing. So guitar lessons, Patreon, course. Check these links out, guys. Okay, get on with the lesson. Okay, what can we do next? So here's another idea. Here's just the chord that basically, in this case, it wasn't even voice leading. I changed everything here, right? I mean, you can kind of think of voice leading, but I decided to make a fuller chord here. So, and how did I come up with this shape? So here we have the root, A flat, then you have a third, which is C, and then this note is that same 6 or 13, it's the same sound, right? It's just in this case I'm playing as 6. And then I'm also adding the flat 9 in here, right? And then I'm adding the 13 again, right? Remember, there's a PDF available for anything I'm doing in my Patreon, or whatever you spell it, right? So here's that little voicing. So let's see how it sounds together. Let's do that clean. Right? So here, maybe that voice lead, here I'm kind of starting with something a little bit more new, right? And then what I did afterwards is just basically, this is like a 7 chord, just a normal dominant 7 chord without the root. So you have 3, 7, and 3 again. Like you can call it like a shell voicing, right? What else can we move? Where can we move from here? Let's see. What if I should move this shape? That's a 3. And what if I want to showcase that flat 9 again? And here we have that. It's basically kind of like a diminished chord, right? Have a diminished chord. Right. And yeah, so here we have it. And what else can we do here? Remember did I mention that before? Inside of this chord, you can also find these little interesting things. You can find triads inside of this chord, right? So triads are everywhere. You can, if you look, you'll find, right? So interesting about this chord is we have actually both major and minor triads. In this case, it's major, F major and F minor triad. So here you have a F major triad, and you also have an F minor triad in there, right? So you kind of move around. Obviously, the root would be this one. That's a major, F major triad with the A flat root. So that's another name. You could actually call this chord that is A flat 13, flat 9. You can also call it like a F major chord with A flat and bass. So here's another thing. And you see sometimes you see that in various pieces. I believe Pat Metheny have that kind of thing where he uses like a triad with something else in the bass that doesn't quite, you know, that isn't 100% logical in terms of like typical harmony or typical chords that you're used to as a guitarist, or, you know, even not as a guitarist. I hope that makes sense, guys. So here we have, so let's go back where I was. So, right? Right? So that's a little movement here. So I'm going from that A7 chord into that diminished, and then, so that was the next thing I wanted to do here. F minor triad. Right, and it could be F major as well, but in this case I decided. So what I'm doing here again, I'm actually kind of moving that root, sort of, you know, that lowest note in here, and I'm just moving these two voices, right, and that becomes F minor triad. So that's just interesting ways how to explore this. So here what do we have? Right, and then the next thing where you could potentially be doing, this is interesting, you can actually also play F dominant chord in there. So you have A, you have E flat, and you have F. F dominant chord also fits in there. Again, another thing, you kind of like, yeah. So is dominant chord. So that's without the root, and even with the root, you can actually play that one. Let's see. You can kind of go back to that first shape. Okay, here's just some ideas. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, guys. There's a PDF, what I'm doing and what chords I'm doing in my Patreon. Okay, let's check out some other ideas. Before we dig in, I just want to announce a couple things. One, I do take guitar students, so reach out through my webpage. I take guitar students on Zoom. It's on all levels. It's not just this kind of advanced stuff. Of course, if you're watching this video, you might be advanced. So yeah, I do teach this kind of stuff as well. So reach out. Second thing, I'm launching a Patreon. So check out that link below as well. And the third thing is I do have a course, and it's focusing on triad inversions across the fretboard. It digs quite deep into it. Currently just major minor in there, close string triads, but covering all the keys and all the positions and all quite deeply. So 8 hours of course. It will be updated as well. There's going to be some diminished added and some more things to master triads across the fretboard. So that's the third thing. So guitar lessons, Patreon, course. Check these links out, guys. Okay, get on with the lesson. And here's one thing that's quite interesting. If you, it's interesting sometimes on guitar to find symmetric movements. And in this case, you can have a little triads moving around and having voice leading. So let me show you what I mean. I'll do that with fingers. right? So that's that same, right? That's the same chord, really. Remember I said about those F major and minor triads that fits inside of the chord? Here I'm gonna do F major triad like this. And I'm gonna add voice leading here on the first note, on the first string. So what I'm doing is that's a G flat, which is a major, which is -7 in that A flat chord, right? So I'm basically kind of playing F major chord like a triad with, and I'm adding that voice leading that is G flat note. And I'm doing that same kind of symmetric little thing, minor third up. The ones who like Coltrane will like the sound, right? I mean, it's not quite Coltrane, but you know, there's some similarities, right? So I'm here. So here I played F major triad, and I added voice leading to be G flat, which is 7. And next one, I'm playing A flat major triad because we are playing A flat dominant chord. So A flat major triad also will fit inside of this, right? So A flat major 7 triad, and I'm gonna add voice leading to be that flat 9 sound, which is A note. So it's kind of like a cool little symmetric kind of. So I'm not playing the second string, guys. I'm just playing this triad and adding A flat. So you have to be, you know, you can do that with a pick as well. You just have to skip that first. Because C sharp we don't want, right? So you know, if you're gonna like, because you kind of have to bar here, but you have to skip, right? So the next thing what I did here, I played diminished chord. So it's kind of like a C diminished chord, right? Like a triad, right? And I'm adding voice leading C. In this case, kind of like C diminished chord triad. We have notes that are F sharp or G flat, which is a flat 7 inside of that chord we're looking at. Then we have a C, which is a third, and with an E flat, which is a 5. So, and that's a diminished triad. And voice leading, let's do that 1 minor third up again. And we have that same thing. In this case, we're starting with A flat, which is a flat 9. Then we're playing E flat, which is 5. Then we're playing G flat, right? And then the voice leading is a 5. See? That's quite a nice little movement again, right? Yeah, here's a little exploration, right? Let's see, one more thing I'll give you. So, obviously you also want to, actually 2 more things I'll give you. So I will remind you that there's one cool scale out there. It's called harmonic major, and harmonic major, like other scales, also have various modes inside of there, right? So yeah, that's that. And how is this related? We have something called mixolydian scale flat 9. So we're gonna start with A flat, and that's like a mixolydian scale. We'll be adding flat 9. Very interesting, cool sounding scale, right? I always like to actually kind of improvise a little bit more around when I'm checking a scale, especially a scale like that. And that's a harmonic major scale, mode 5. So in this case, we are in key of D flat. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, guys. Like, let me see, what is harmonic major scale? Let's go a little bit deeper. So harmonic major scale is basically a scale that is like a major scale. The one thing that is different with normal major scale and harmonic major scale is a flat 6 sound, right? So that's that. So let's see. Let's do that from the D flat, since we are in a key of D flat. It's probably would be easier to look from C, but let's see. Let's see. Right? So that's how it sounds. Let's do it from C and let's look at everything, right? So you have root. Let's do everything from C. So C, D, E, F, G, and then you have A flat, and then you have B and C, right? Right? So that's same thing from D flat. And then when we start that same thing from A flat, right? And you kind of like, let me see. And then if you can kind of go, right? Going back to the root if we want to go to that harmonic major scale. So that's the root for the mixolydian. I hope that makes sense. I wrote that down also in the PDF. And one more little fun thing I found inside this chord that I also want to share is, and I don't know if I think I shared that before, is a little bit of digging into hexatonics. So what are hexatonics? Hexatonics basically are 6-note scales. So if you look at the same chord and you're gonna look at all the notes, right? So just the notes that are in chords. So we have A flat, which is the root. Then we're gonna flat 2 or flat 9, and 3, 5, 13 or 6, 7, dominant 7. Or flat 7, right? So that's the actual hexatonic scale that you can use improvising over this chord, as well as just coming up with harmonic movements. And what's fun about hexatonic scale that you can find these little cool little things in there. So what we have here is, so that's a minor, F minor triad, which we already looked at, that F minor chord is inside here, right? And then the other thing what we see is a diminished chord. So it's an E flat diminished chord, right? And there's like a little movement here that you can do, and it's like, and once you have that, that's interesting. You can again then explore more hexatonic movements that are also fun to explore. And Jerry Berganzi have a book about it where he explores a lot of different cool hexatonic patterns. So, but here, just like if you're just looking from the triad perspective, right? That's a little movement you already can do. So for example, like if you wanted to move, that's just a little movement that can be done here. So we have like this, then we have this, so diminished chord. So that's a triad, minor triad, then we have diminished chord, then we have minor triad again, diminished chord, and so on. So here's like a lot of different ideas that you can take on and dig in deeper. Obviously, yeah, that's quite a lot of information, I think. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Do give me some ideas in the comments. What do you think? Yeah, would like to hear your thoughts. How do you find, these things, how do you find new voicings? And did you know about hexatonic scales before? Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give me a like, because algorithm, right? You wanna, on all that stuff, right? Anyway, guys, I do teach guitar. Give me an email. Check out my course. Check out my Patreon, and I'll see you next time.